الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده اللهم يا مفتح الأبواب ويا مسبب الأسباب ويا دليل الحائرين توكلت عليك يا رب العالمين وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. صدق الله المولان العظيم. Mr. Chairman and my dear brothers and sisters, this verse which I have just read to you is not really a part of this symposium. This has been forced upon me by our cousins the Jews. They forced me to read this because of what Brother Paul Finley had spoken, what he read in the Weekend Star, what he read in this morning's Cape Times, what our Jewish cousins, they had said, things about me and about him. And if I allow it to go unanswered, it will be for them to say that, look, this man, he admits his guilt. For that now, I read this ayah from the Holy Quran, in which advice is given to us all, most especially the believer. It says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, O you who believe, O people of faith, men and women, in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in, if an evil monger, a perverted transgressor, comes to you with any news, fatabayyanu, verify it, ascertain whether what he says is true or not, before you start spreading it in turn and creating greater mischief, and in the end when you discover the truth, you regret what you had done. This is ayah from Surah Hujarat from the Holy Quran. And I would like you, my brothers and sisters, to go home and check this ayah up. Not that you doubt me, or at any time any learned man gives you references from the Holy Quran, make it a habit of checking up those references. Not that you doubt the speakers, but by checking up, seeing the words, uttering them, reading the meaning and the commentary, then that part of the sharing that the learned man has done will become a part of your own property, and you in turn will be able to share with others. Where do you find this? As a Surah Hujarat. How do you find Surah Hujarat in an encyclopedia of this size? Very difficult. There are 114 surahs, and Hujarat is only one of them. You start going to page through, and this is an encyclopedia, almost 2,000 pages. To be exact, 1,920. Where will you find this Hujarat? In this particular one, which has been offered to you when you entered, and when you go out, at the back is an index, a very comprehensive index. Anything you want to know, you just browse through the index. You want to know Hujarat and the H, just like in a dictionary, look for Hujarat. Once you have found it, it will tell you chapter 49. 49 is easy to find because every page is numbered. Then I tell you its ayah number, verse number 6. Very easy. Check it up. And anything, everything, whatever you want to know. You want to know about heaven, under H. If you want to know about hell, under H. You want to know about the Jews, under J. You want to know about Moses, under M. You want to know about Jesus, under J. What do you want to know? You want to know about marriage, about divorce, about heaven, about whatever you want to know, go to the index, and this encyclopedia is being offered to you for 5 rands. A book of 2,000 pages for 5 rands. There is not another book on earth which you can buy 2,000 pages today with a hardcover for 5 rands. It's all yours. You owe it to yourself to buy one. If you haven't got one, take it. And more than one, give to your non-Muslim friends, your employers, your employees, whether they are Jewish or they are Christians. Give it to them. Now this Jewish tittle-tattle. On the Sunday, August, we had this advert on page 2. But our Jewish cousins, they were on the alert. On page 19, they had their advert advertising us. Advertising Ahmad Deedat and Paul Finley. Trying to see how they can character assassinate the people. The purpose of this is to character assassinate. And I'm sure a lot of you have come because on seeing on page 19 what the Jews have to say about Ahmad Deedat and Paul Finley. So we are grateful to our Jewish cousins for this extra advertisement. We didn't have to pay for it. Now the thing that we can deal with, the most recent event, there were more than 1,000 people in the Athlone Civic Center on Wednesday, last Wednesday. So you will remember more easily how easily people can mislead people who were not there. There were more than 1,000 people according to the Cape Times. The reporter was there. On Thursday morning, they produced a picture of the audience and Ahmad Deedat speaking. And this reporter, we don't know whether it was Hindu, Muslim, Christian or Jew, because the name is not mentioned, we don't know. But reporters have a tendency to sensationalize news. It sells the paper easier, better. Sensationalize things. So this reporter, I said Hindu, Muslim, Christian or Jew, we don't know who he was. He says, and as he was quoting, he said, Deedat said, Christians who criticized calls for Rushdie's death were hypocrites with a faith that was garbage. There are two different events. The man picks up one event from one place and picks up something else from another place and he joins them together as if this was one sentence uttered by Deedat. That the religion of these people, the Christians, is garbage. Now, putting us on a warpath with the Christians is a beautiful strategy. We were going to talk about, is Israel set up for destruction? And now they want to start discussing and fighting with the Christians. Did Deedat say this or didn't he? You see, he's a brawler. He's looking for trouble. So those of you who were there, more than 1,000 people were there, they will remember that when we were discussing the subject, should Rushdie die? Should he die? And what was the Judeo-Christian verdict? I gave a verdict. What is the verdict? There's not one word about that. What I said in brief was that the Judeo-Christian, meaning the Jewish religion and the Christian religion and the Islamic faith, on this point of blasphemy, they are one. There's nothing mentioned about that. This was the verdict. I said the verdict is one. People get into the news, writing letters under pen names, nom de plumes, saying, you see, the Judeo-Christian, our standard is far better than those of the Muslims. The Muslims are a barbaric people. So I was suggesting them, look at your own book. What does your book say? My book confirms what your book is saying. And garbage, what I said was, those of you who were there will remember, I'm repeating it, it will be available on videotape, so you can't say that Deedat is playing with words. What I said was that Christianity was based on the alleged murder of Jesus Christ on the cross. That murder. The Jews, rightly or wrongly, according to their understanding, they said this man deserves to die. He has to be crucified because he blasphemed. That was the Jewish charge against Jesus Christ. So I said this crucifixion is the foundation of Christianity, and as such, Paul, the great Saint Paul, in his book of Corinthians, I didn't mention chapter and verse, I tell you now, chapter 15 verse 14, he says, I'm quoting Paul. Paul says, if Christ is not risen from the dead, our preaching is vain, your faith is vain. This is what Paul said. And I went on to explain vain, worthless, useless, garbage. I didn't say that Christianity was garbage. This is what Paul says. That if this is not so, if there is no such thing as Christ dying and getting raised from the dead, then the religion is worthless, useless, garbage. Now they said, I said that Christianity is garbage. I said, Paul says that.